All right. Hello.
Oh,
So anyways, I was gonna say, yeah, I got unemployment during the pandemic. They were giving people like thousands of dollars every month. It was crazy. You didn't partake in that?
No, I kind of feel like a wuss. I mean, I don't have anything against anyone that does it. I'd rather just have a job. I mean, I hate working, but I'd rather just make money. Um, we all got the stimmy. Like I got the stimmy as well as at the 1200, and my timelines are always funny because I know I just said that I had just gotten off drugs when the pandemic started, but I know I spent some of that stimmy on fentanyl, which I thought was hilarious. So it's probably like in the middle of the pandemic that I'd gotten cleaned up. I do remember having my rehab experience was very strange, and that was kind of a shitty thing that I don't think enough people talked about was that a lot of people fucking drowned trying to get off drugs with the COVID shit because all the rehabs shut down. It's like you can't shut down these people's fucking rehab. Like some people are like homeless trying to like get off this shit, and because you're trying to everyone's got their thoughts on COVID, so of course I do too. But because you guys are trying to hype this motherfucker up, you're gonna take away rehab from these guys. Like, people are out here overdosing on drugs that you're also flooding into the country. It's just the whole thing was a mess. But so yeah, when I graduated rehab, it was on Zoom. My counselor wasn't able to give me the present that we did like traditionally in my rehab. Your counselor would give you a present. It was usually something that they made for you personally because everyone had like a one-on-one counselor. I had this really cool counselor. She was great. Um, yeah, I had to go in and pick up my shit from, the office in like some awkward manner when she wasn't even there. And yeah, it messed with a lot of people's like rehab deal. And I know a lot of people like relapse and shit. We talked about it all the time. Like the last half of our sessions were over Zoom. And they were like, yeah, like half the people that dropped out. And, when you're in rehab and people drop out, you know exactly what that means. Like,
But I feel like during COVID, like everybody just kind of shacked up with one another and then did drugs. Like that's what I don't know if you guys had the same experience, but that's
nah.
just it,
I
it,
uh
it was
I was clean, like recovered at that point. So I'm glad I didn't have to go through that at that time. But like I do remember like passing like places where I know they like do NA and AA, and there'd always be like all them outside smoking cigarettes. And I remember when COVID happened, it was all closed down. I'm like, man, these poor people, like some of these people really need that meeting and they're not going to be able to get it. So I don't know what happened to some of those people. I mean, you know, um, thank God that ship was sailed for me a long time ago. But I thought about that. I was like, man, everything shut down. It was fucking crazy. It was
dude,
crazy.
I would love to see like a factual statistic because I guarantee you, like half of the drug addicts relapse during COVID because everything. Yeah, I guarantee it.
I bet. I bet.
there's nothing else to do.
Well, everybody just shacked up and did drugs, man. It
Yeah, no,
was
I mean,
beautiful. It was a
I
beautiful time.
I feel I feel like a lot of people had COVID relationships
That
where, you know, like I remember a lot of guys like moving in with girls, and promising them the world during COVID, and then the second COVID was over, it was like, okay, bye.
I'm gonna
That
be
was it.
your COVID lover.
Yeah, it was like, thanks for the groceries and feeding me.
It's like it's like how guys shack up with girls like during tax season, but instead, like, fuck, gonna be my COVID baby mama.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah, no one, we all went through, at least I went through that, and my girlfriends went through that.
I seen
It
that.
was,
I could agree with. I seen a lot of like people like on Facebook like in a relationship. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like Tinder was like going fucking crazy, and all these
yeah, it was
people.
like, where are you meeting people? We're stuck inside.
Yeah, met him at an urgent care getting a fucking COVID test. Crazy.
Yeah, no, it was,
The world changed after that shit. Like George Floyd thing happened, COVID happened, and then the world just like went fucking crazy. Like completely crazy. It sucked. It sucks because we're still feeling the repercussions of it.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin Newsom's getting his ass eaten out. Shit's weird as fuck. Every time he says that, I fucking die. I just feel like Gavin Newsom's a guy who, before he hooks up with a girl, he's just like, eat my ass. Shit's hilarious.
It's got to become a thing. I've got to make this become a thing on Twitter.
Yeah.
Um,
And Hitler having his own Twitter.
yeah, Hitler, in the name of free speech, give Hitler his Twitter.
I love how you edited that video. It's just you going, give Hitler a Twitter, and then it just cuts out. It's, I don't give a fuck. Let him fucking do his own fucking thing. I'm just like, people got to be loving this, and if they're not, they're missing out because the shit's hilarious.
I'm always very torn between like sometimes I would like to be a serious guy and talk about serious things, and then sometimes I would like to just make edits of, like talking about giving Hitler Twitter and Gavin Newsom getting his ass eaten out.
I think that shit's hilarious. Like, I don't know. That would catch my attention if I've never seen your podcast and then I turn it on. It's you fucking ranting about how Hitler should have a Twitter, or Gavin Newsom gets his ass eaten out before he does whatever. It's like, I don't know. I love that random shit. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I like in my humor. And then I would like to walk a line. Like, I'd like to do that and then do serious shit. So like I always talk about there's this porn star named Callie Roses that once I get popular enough, I really want to get an interview with her. She follows me on Twitter because I gave her a t-shirt idea for a piece of merch that I now own. And so I know that if I tweet at her, she will see it. So I now have that option in my back pocket to, but I have like 100 subscribers. So I need to, she's got like 600,000 followers on Twitter. She's got a YouTube channel. She's got better equipment than I do. So
Yeah.
It needs to be worth her time. So I keep thinking about like, what happens when I do have enough subscribers and I finally tweet at her and she checks out my channel and I'm here like, give Hitler a fucking Twitter. And she's like, okay, no, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm looking at a picture of her getting gangbanged by 7 dudes, so I don't know what's weirder. But I mean, hey, good for her. I just looked her up. I'd never heard of her. But
In 2024, I think giving Hitler a Twitter is probably weird. But that's why I say I gotta walk a line of being like serious and just like being a dick. So that if she does reply and she's like, hey, what's up with this like Hitler Twitter shit? I can be like, dude, I'm just fucking around.
So, side note, when you go to the live page on YouTube, it's you and then Lo-Fi Hip Hop Radio and then Natives for Kamala.
what?
Oh, that's great.
That's the section they put you in.
That's what I should start doing. I should start titling these things like I follow a kid on YouTube and I only follow him because he produces a podcast for 2 guys that I like, and he does little like 4-hour live stream sessions on YouTube of him just dicking around, and his titles are always like outrageous. I should have titled this "White Dudes for Kamala" or something, or I should have titled this "Black Dudes for Kamala." Is what I should have titled it, and then people click on it and it's all of us.
And then there's Asian Radio. That's where you're at. Yeah, you need to do something like aggressive.
I can change the title right now. Let's pick something.
How do they decipher that, or you're like, how do they categorize you?
I don't know. It's just
right
kind of
right
like,
now.
okay.
I guarantee right now I'm so small that they just throw me in random. There's no.
Yeah, because the next video, the Natives for Kamala, only has 100 people watching. So, and then the next guy has 26. So you're in that category of like, probably like, because we just logged on, it's probably like fresh videos.
You're gonna get like really interested in Kamala Harris, and they're like, "Oh, let me check out this guy."
Yeah.
And it's like he's talking about.
Why don't you put like acid for Kamala or something like that?
I'll think of something. It would have to be disco for Harris if it was going to be any kind of anything for Harris.
You're talking about unemployment,
Disco for Kamala, yeah.
EBT and stuff like that's kind of they're all about. So
give Kamala her unemployment.
Yeah, no, it has to be something like really just obscure, but also kind of political. So, I mean, yeah, we've been talking about EBT. So,
I would seriously, I would title it "Give Hitler a Twitter," but I'm afraid YouTube would pull the shit down.
Oh
or, like,
yeah, they wouldn't like that for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Didn't you just say like white people for Kamala?
yeah, but that's too on the nose. People will
Yeah.
click on it, and I don't know. We'll think of something.
Just put like disco for Kamala because people will be like, what? Disco music? And then it's just us.
It would be a great twist because they would click on it and see the American flag background, and they, Kamala voters don't fuck with American flag, so they
Yeah, they hate the country. They hate the United States. This is too patriotic for them. They're like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
why don't you title it that? That would be good.
title it what?
Disco for Kamala.
Hold on. Let me pull up this YouTuber that I follow and pull up some examples.
Okay.
He actually he titles his stuff a lot of things that I'm surprised like don't get
Okay.
pulled.
So I'm noticing that any of the titles that have the word Elon Musk in it have like thousands of people watching right now. So you gotta do like, okay, actually what you should do is because a lot of these titles are like Elon Musk with Trump, you should put like Elon Musk for Kamala or something to like completely throw everybody off.
Yeah, but we also got to be realistic. People are going to click on it and click right off because I think we're talking about ghost stories today, and that's not like a.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's supposed to be a surprise.
If you just say like, I feel like hashtag true crime would. It's like, I mean, even though we're not talking about all that, but like that would kind of be in the same wheelhouse, right? Like true crime's big on like people or like shit.
Yeah.
Like that.
Let's see. Well, we've got one person watching right now, so
See?
that's promising.
Yeah, it says one watching now. How do you see who it is?
You
definitely,
can't.
Yeah.
They
I
said-
guess maybe because we started talking about Kamala and Elon Musk. It's
No, this person's been there since we started, so it's probably just someone from the Instagram. This is like Annie's thing. Her favorite thing is to keep an eye on who's watching and then try to interact with them.
That's
yeah,
pretty.
I'd love to see who's there.
I feel.
Sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
I try to continue on as if there could be 1,000 people watching and I wouldn't give a shit. I'd just be talking to.
I pull up like the chat log on my computer behind me because like it. I guess it is pretty cool if somebody would be like asking.
Okay. So there's one with 1,000 views, and it's basically Harris for Bon Iver, the band.
Yeah.
So, you could do something like that. Yeah. Harris for disco.
I don't know. Are we deciding it's going to be Kamala Harris based?
I mean, we don't actually have to talk about her, but it seems
Well-
like at the moment, this is what's getting in the.
Yeah, I know.
The beat. But whatever you want to do.
Disco Rob for president.
Oh, wait, here's one with 200 views. 70s cop show. That's what it's called. People also seem to like the name Gwen Stefani.
Speaking of that, I was like scrolling through Instagram and like there was like a Gwen Stefani song. It said like liked by, and then your name was under it.
Me?
Yeah. It was
Oh.
like retro something music, and it was like
Oh, yeah. I like a lot of those videos. It's probably that what's that song? Don't Speak?
yeah,
Yeah,
was
it was
it.
that one.
Yeah, no doubt was cool back in the day. She's like amazing. It's amazing how like she's changed her face from plastic surgery. Like she was always good looking, and like I don't know, it's just weird to me.
I think she's still good looking, but she of course she was way more badass when she was wearing the Gwen wife beater. And I stumbled into a comment section one time about people complaining about she used to do the red dot on her head, which of course people are crying. What is it? Cultural appropriation. I was like, who gives a fuck? I thought it was badass. I honestly kind of want to steal that now. I want to start doing the red dot on my head during streams. But Gwen Stefani was badass. She was really cool. My mom used to really like her back in my mom's day.
Who's
So
her husband that's on The Voice? Is she on The Voice, or it's just the husband?
Isn't it like Blake Shelton?
Yes. Yeah, him. Years ago, I had a boyfriend, and his older brother was on The Voice. And I think he was either on like Blake's team or the other guy, John Legend. But I know he like kind of made the ranks within the show.
I hate John Legend only because, well, one, because his music sucks, but two, whenever you go to look up John Lennon on any kind of music service, you type in John L, and then sometimes LE and Legend comes up first. And who the fuck is this guy to take precedence over John? It's just blasphemy. It's absolute blasphemy. I know it's not his fault. It's like the streaming service's fault, but fuck John Legend. That's what's John Legend. Yeah, John. This is stupid.
Yeah.
It's a stupid name. Get him the fuck out of here. No
He's
one wants this guy. Throw him off a fucking waterfall.
he's married to that one woman, the model. I forgot her name.
Yeah, not Yoko Ono. That's what you're saying.
No. Oh no. Oh, at work now we have 2 watchers.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's just one. It's probably just
You said something, and then they're like, "Fuck this."
They're like, Kamala? Oh, they're talking about John Legend. Gotta get out of here. Okay, so on tonight's theme of ghost stories and hauntings, would you like to take the lead?
Me?
Any of you? Yeah, Mark, do you want to
All right. Well,
talk about your little story?
not like a fucking ghost like grabbed my arm and choked me or nothing like that. It is a pretty crazy story. So, all right, yeah. So I bought my first house when I was 24, and it was like built in like the 60s. The guy was in the hospital, like he was very old. His family was like, it was like an estate thing, whatever. So I bought the house. It needed a shitload of work. The guy had his own library in the house, like not like talking about like a huge thing, but like a whole room dedicated to books, like just fucking wall to wall to wall. And like I'm always curious about like, I don't know, the way people live or what they did before. Like, I don't know, like I moved in. So like I looked through all the books and shit, and the dude had like everything from fucking like art books to like how to fucking play the fucking flute to fucking black magic shit. And I was like, all right, this is cool. So I kept all like the black magic shit. Like it was like tarot reading stuff. It was like all fucking weird like that. So I kept it.
He left the books?
Yeah,
when
so
you moved in?
Of myself. The dude was in hospice. The family sold me the house. The deal was like you have to keep everything and get rid of it because most of the shit was trash, but all the books stayed. So like I kept a lot of like the like surrealism art books. There was no theme, like I said, like it was all weird shit. So surrealism art books. He had fucking black magic shit, like tarot reading. So I kept all that, but in the back of my head, I was like, yeah, this is definitely like fucked up. It's gonna like I don't know, make this shit like a bad omen or something. So sure as shit, 6 months later, like I'm at work and I have cameras inside my house and outside. I'm like weird with like home security. I'm a little over the fucking top. So I heard like almost like a whipping sound. Like the best way I could describe it is like you ever seen Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
Woods, and it's like that crackling sound.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like, so I'm like, oh fuck, my house is getting robbed. Like, cause it's 6 months. I'm a new homeowner. They're checking to see when I'm going and leaving. So like I call my neighbor and I'm like, yo, I'm hearing all these noises. Can you just walk around my house? So he does. There's no fucking nothing. So this shit goes on for like weeks. And I just start to realize like either it's the fucking camera or it's the house settling. I don't know. I was making excuses for it. Then I started taking still pictures on the fucking Wise camera and there's like orbs and shit. And I'm like, all right, this is fucking weird. So I wind up like getting rid of like the black magic books and shit because I'm like freaked out at this point. And I like put a post on Facebook for like free books, whatever. The people fucking come, take everything, it's all gone. I called a company to like do the installation in the attic. This fucking Mexican guy calls me. He's like, "Oh, we found a gun in your attic, and it was a gun with the fucking butt taped and shit and the serial numbers scraped off. And it was, yo, I'm not making this up. Condom wrappers. They were taped. I'm not making this up. They were taped. Like, all right, so it was like a quilt of condoms. And this gun was so like New Jersey is like California when it comes to gun control. They're like super fucking weird with it. So I called the cops. They come there. They're like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's condoms laid out, guns laid out. I got fucking shit going on my camera. I'm all bugged out now. I'm like, I should have never bought this house. Anyway, the cop was like, go figure. He's like, I don't care, if this guy's in hospice or not. We're gonna find out the story of this gun. They go to fucking talk to the guy. The guy fucking dies.
Oh, no.
I'm not kidding. The same day, the cops call me. They're like, listen, like, we're just going to destroy the gun. Like, we don't know what the story is, but the guy passed away. I'm like, because he fucking dies. Anyway, long story short, the shit continued on my camera, like, loud as fuck. The one day it sounded like fucking doors slamming so loud that I called my parents. I was like, you got to go over there and like see what the fuck is up. They went there and nothing. And it stopped randomly. Like, I don't know what the fuck it was. So I wish I had the video on my fucking phone. I'd show you, but my old phone is broken. I have to try to see if I could download it. But it's just weird. Totally weird.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the guy dying. Like maybe that,
well, it happened before he was dead though. Like, he was in hospice. I don't know.
But so like, was he, when he was in hospice, was he awake or was he just?
I mean, it was such a weird sale because the family didn't even show up, meet me, nothing for like the closing. They went through their lawyer. The lawyer met me. It was done. I don't know. But like, I found out he was like a librarian in Philadelphia. So he would drive like over an hour to work every day. And which is just strange to me. I don't know if he had like a past or like if he.
Okay, so there's different things that could go down that could cause this. So if you're on hospice and you're dying, before you die, like your consciousness is kind of in between two worlds. So it's possible it was him. It's possible that his house was haunted, or it is possible that it came from something within the house, because sometimes spirits are attached to objects, especially things that are old. So if you had like old books, it's possible that it came from something like that. I don't know.
What about the revolver wrapped in condom wrappers? What the
fuck? I don't know. I mean, that's something from him, I guess.
Anyway, it just freaked me the fuck out. I love like paranormal shit. I love like all that, but like it freaked me out to the point where I was like sleeping like with one eye open. Like I was like, what the fuck?
So do you still live there?
No, I've moved 3 times since then.
Okay.
Yeah. I go find my old iPhone and plug it in and see if I could download it. The screen's broken, but if I could download the video, you'd be like, yo, holy shit. I know I'm like all over the place with the story, but like if you hear or see the video, you'd be like, holy fuck. Like my parents went there and I showed them and they were like, dude, that's fucking crazy. So,
that's wild. When was the house built?
1960.
Oh, okay. So it's not too old.
No. But like at the time I was like on drugs real bad. So like I was like, number one, am I fucking hallucinating? And number two, you get high and you're like, fuck, dude, is there gonna be like, some fucking ghost that's gonna come out and like shove a meth pipe down my throat or what? What's gonna happen here?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking weird, man.
So how long did you live there? Were you like, fuck this, I gotta sell?
For like 5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I told my neighbors, they're like looking at me like, yeah, guns, fucking condom wrappers. Yeah. Like
I mean, do you think that maybe he killed somebody in the house?
Something happened with that gun because
like maybe he had like an orgy or something and like killed people and then
I'm a big gun guy and like there's no reason for you to tape the handle of a revolver. If you're taking the serial number off, you're definitely doing something sketchy. The condom thing, I don't fucking understand at all. But like, I gotta see if I can get these pictures. Like when you took a screenshot on the camera, there was like orbs all over the fucking living room, and I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Well, I mean, because condoms are lubricated, would there be a reason why he would need to like touch the gun and have it lubricated?
Fucking forensic files, Annie. Spermicidal lube on the condom. It's got anything to do with murderous past.
Yeah, no, I mean, because
Rob,
I'm trying to think like, okay, and then this could be even more just obscure, but maybe he didn't have like a, I don't know, like a cloth or something if he's trying to hide evidence. So he thought maybe putting like a condom wrapper would remove his fingerprints.
like a load of condom wrappers. He had taped one to another. Like it was like a quilt. And then this Mexican guy is like thinking that I'm some fucking deviant. Like, he's like, we found condoms, the condoms in the attic. Like acting like I'd be like, oh yeah, just leave.
There's only one thing I could think about when you say condoms and a gun, like in the same thing, and it's like not a good. It's like not a good thought. That the only thing I could think of is why you'd want to condom up a gun.
Sorry that story was so like scatterbrained, but like I haven't brought it up in so long. But when you said like ghost story thing, I just thought of it because
you're like condoms and guns.
Oh yeah, fuck, dude. I remember when I lived in that house and like that really freaked me the fuck out. And like I gave the Black Magic books to like the local library, and they're like, yeah, we'll take donations. Like what the fuck, like.
But maybe he used those books and he had conjured something within the house. We'll never know.
Maybe.
But Rob, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
My first thought I have to say, and I'm gonna digress so fucking hard, only because when you were talking about a ghost putting a meth pipe down your throat. So I have this story, and it's mostly funny because of the way the guy said it, obviously, and you'll get it. So I used to have this dealer, and he also smoked meth. I never smoked meth, but this dealer did. And there was one night that I couldn't get a hold of him like all night. And then the next day he called me pretty late in the day, and he's like, hey, come pick me up. I just got home from the hospital. So I was like, oh, okay, shit. I don't give a fuck. I just want my drugs. So I go pick him up. And this guy gets in my car and he's like, yeah, I took too much Xanax, and he was smoking fentanyl the night before. And so then he's also, so I woke up in the hospital, and this dude starts crying. And, this is a fucking dealer. Like, you don't see your dealers cry. These are like the macho men that say, like, I got the money. I got everything you need. He's crying. And he's all, yeah, I woke up in a hospital bed, and there was, and there was a pipe in my dick. And I was like, what are you talking? It turns out he meant catheter, but just the first word that came to his head was pipe. So I remember thinking like, oh, this guy somehow put a pipe in his dick when he was high on Xanax. But no, it was just a catheter. But I had to try not to laugh because, like I said, this guy was crying, which makes me very afraid of ever becoming old, because my dealer was crying in front of me because of the feeling of a catheter, which is like something that I know that when I get old and I like get cancer, I'll probably get cancer in like my 40s, but dude, I'm dying in my bed. Like, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing fucking catheters and.
How bad that's gotta hurt.
Dying of cancer in your bed?
No, catheter in your fucking urethra.
Yeah, dude, I'll throw up if I think about it too much. I'm not doing it. So when this guy, when his first words to me were, I woke up and there was a pipe in my dick. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like,
and you just want your drugs, so you're like, I don't know if you've ever had it where you go there and like your dealer starts like fucking spilling his guts. Well, you obviously had that happen, but like, or like a couple times where they'll spill your guts, like, man, I'm dealing with this shit with my baby mama, man. I'm like, shut the fuck up and give me this shit so I can get the hell out of here. Like,
dude, all the time. Yeah, they want to talk about that. It's funny because dealers, okay, I promise I'll get to the ghost story after this one. Dealers, I was just thinking about this, how dealers are always the ones that are, like I said, they're the macho guys. You meet them and they're like, yeah, I got everything. You need anything, you hit me up. You need, just give me a call. I got you. I got money. I got stacks for days. after knowing them for like a week, dude, they're calling you every 5 minutes, being like, dude, can you give me a ride over here? Like, dude, can I borrow a sweatshirt? I don't have it. Dude, can you give me them? I'm like, bro, I thought you had everything. What are you talking about? Like, so yeah, you go pick them up because you want to buy your bag. Usually in my case, I was fucking sick. I'm withdrawing and they want to talk to me about, oh, my mom kicked me out of the house because she's a bitch. I'm like, no, because she found your fucking drugs because you're a dealer and you're a loser. Give me my bag. Get the fuck out of my car. Like, I don't want to hear about this. Like,
Yeah.
once I take a couple of hits, then yes, I will gladly sit here and listen to your story. But you need, it's like, dude, give me like,
Yeah,
I always swear if I ever had the balls to be a dealer, I'd be the greatest dealer of all time because all you have to do is be on time, be where you say you're going to be at that time, and just give them the bag and shut the fuck up. Like it's the easiest job in the world, but these guys somehow just complicate everything. On top of that, they start walking around town looking like a fucking douchebag, expecting the cops to not pull them over. I had a dealer one time. He got caught. First of all, on probation when this happens, right? He's like the biggest dealer in town. He goes out and buys a brand new BMW in cash and starts rolling around town. So all the cops that know him, because he's on probation, of course, they pull him like, bro, where'd you get this car? You haven't had a job for 10 years. I'm like, dude, why? And yeah, sure enough, within like a month or two, he got fucking arrested and we lost our. I'm like, dude, what? Like these guys, like, what's so like, dude, get a part-time job and just like be on time. That's all you have to do to be a successful dealer. It's not hard. I don't care what anyone says. Just have a source of income so that if anyone says, why do you have all this money? Just say, oh, I've been working at Burger King, putting in extra hours. Fucking be on time.
Hey, man, no one's hiring, man. Give the guy a break.
Yeah, nobody is hiring.
I guess so.
So, do you have any potential job prospects?
I have one.
Oh, okay.
I hit up a buddy, coincidentally, a buddy who works at a construction joint whose blades I used to sharpen at my last job. I'm gonna have to bullshit a little bit. It requires 2 years experience on a construction site, which I don't have, but I have a stepdad that did construction, so I could say, I used to hang out there with him all the, some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finally at the point where I don't give a fuck. I'll start lying. I used to always be that guy. I never wanted to lie on my applications, but I don't give a fuck now, dude. I'll say whatever. Like, I'll figure it out. I mean, obviously, if I just keep thinking of clever titles like Kamala Harris ain't my mojo, I might never have to get a real job, but that's not going to happen for, at least a while. But,
you need like some kind of product placement, but I don't know what companies have products that cater to your genre of topic.
Well, no, it's not about them catering to my genre. It's about them giving a fuck to advertise with somebody with 100 subscribers. That's never happened in the history of YouTube. So I need to work on that first.
There was some guy that commented on one of your posts. It was like, man, why do you have such few followers? Can I help in any way or something?
That was spam. I got an, they said like contact me or something.
Right.
It was some weird, like, there's like YouTube websites. They promise to be like your agent. You pay them and they'll get you all these.
Mm-hmm.
And I played, I've been in bands for like more than half my life. So I know all about that shit,
Some Nigerian prince is like, go buy some fucking Google Play cards and send them to me.
Yeah.
I'll make all your dreams come true. Disco Rock.
Dude, since we still have time, I noticed we're only like 30 minutes into this. Speaking of like being in a band and like managers and agents and shit, there was this great story one time. My first real band I got into my freshman year of high school. One time it was like, I think it was me, our synth player, our bass player, who was a girl, and our drummer. Our drummer was black. Me and the bass player and synth player, we were white. This plays into the story here pretty soon. We were in like the shopping outlets in the town next to ours. I think we were just hanging out. And for some odd reason, this like older black guy approaches us in the parking lot. And I mean, like, this dude was like straight out of the Boondocks. Like, he had a leather jacket on and like one of the like the fancy gentleman's hats. Like, you see like your, like a black uncle at the Christmas party who like he was a pimp like in the 1970s. That's what this guy was. It was badass. And he comes over and for some reason he's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, who are you guys? And somehow we brought up that we're a band, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are a band," and we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What kind of music do you play?" Well, we played like this was like high school, so like we were scene kids, and we were playing like open chug breakdowns, and we had a synth player with the auto tune vocals. I think they call it metalcore now. That's like the phrase they've decided on. But this guy's older, so we know he's not going to get this. So we're just like, oh, we play rock music. That's just what you tell old people. So he's like, oh, I have a record label, and right now all we have are rappers. Me and my buddy, my buddy Ernie, his buddy's name is Ernie. I guess we've been looking for a rock band to sign to our label, and we're like, okay, like he's like, give me 1 second, let me give my buddy a call. So he pulls out this fucking flip phone. I mean, this was like the flip phone era anyways, but he pulls out this phone. And he must have had bad service, because I swear to God, for like 10 minutes, he's like, Ernie, can you hear me? Ernie, I'm talking to you, Ernie. And this is going on for like 5 minutes. We're just sitting there like trying not to laugh. Ernie, I got a rock band here. Looking to get Ernie, I got a rock band right here. We're like, dude, what the fuck? And then he starts calling us. He's all, yeah, I got this rock band. It's 3 cats and a brother, which is me and my 2 white friends and our black drummer. So for a while, we loved referring to ourselves as 3 cats and a brother. And it went on for like, it had to have been like 10 to 15 minutes of this guy just yelling at Ernie about 3 cats and a brother.
Ernie.
Finally, he gives us a card, and it's got his website, and we go home and look at it, and it's just like a cheap little website, and there were all these little rappers we never heard of, and it wasn't anything serious. But so that's like, as soon as I got that YouTube comment, I emailed the person, or I think I commented back with my email, and then they emailed me pretty soon, and they said like their name or their brand name or whatever, and I looked it up pretty quick, and it was like, yeah, there's nobody on this website. Like, this guy's gonna have me pay him a flat fee of $1,000, and then he's gonna get me 1 million subscribers, and it's not. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that happened already. Like, first and foremost, when somebody comments on it, was that introduction video that I have on the channel that like has probably like 20 fucking views that I just kind of have on there for shits and gigs. It's like, no, nobody's commenting on a YouTube page with 100 subscribers unless it's somebody that knows me personally and is trying to gas me up. But yeah, I didn't realize that stuff was like on YouTube, like fake managers and agents and shit that want to, charge money for promotion and shit.
We live in a world where there's so many like scam artists that like it's such bullshit. Like you can't trust anybody, and people wonder why. You're like I don't know, why do you always have your guard up or whatever? It's like because like everybody's trying to fuck over everybody.
Did you guys ever see the Tinder Swindler?
No.
That documentary?
I've heard that name. I probably watched it years ago, but I don't remember it. So you're gonna have to explain it again.
I think it came out like last year. It was like this guy, he managed to like, he basically lived off of women, and he got all of this money by having like multiple girlfriends all over the world. So what he would do is he would like get a girl and then be like, like it would be like a couple months in, and then he would say like, my enemies are coming after me, and like they're gonna hurt me, and I need you to like send me like a couple $1,000. And by that point, they, the girls really trust him, so they would just send him like their entire bank accounts. And then he would like, he had this going on with different girls around the world, so he was constantly getting like an influx of money by saying that people were after him and he needed money to get away. So, there you go.
Like on documentaries and stuff. And when not the house where the dude was, haunting me through his hospice bed, but my house I bought after that, in South Carolina, my first house, this lady across the street got like, she was like really heavy set lady, and she like got stuck on her lawnmower, like sideways in a ditch. So I ran over there, and I'm like, I got her shit out, and we were talking, and it was the first time I met her as a neighbor. And she was like, yeah, I have a boyfriend, but he's on an oil rig in Antarctica, or not, or in Alaska, and I never met him yet, but he's coming home soon, and like told me this story, and I put two and two together. That's I think what was going on. 'Cause she was like,
Yeah.
not mean, she was like 450 pounds.
Yeah.
My hubby or whatever, he's on an oil rig, but I haven't met him yet. And I'm thinking, this guy's definitely using her for her money, because she had like 15 acres in this big house, and I'm like, I think that's the same concept that was happening.
Well, have you ever heard of or seen 90 Day Fiance?
No.
Have you seen it, Rob, or heard of it?
I have a buddy that's really into it, but I don't watch it.
So I'm into it. It's basically where like it's usually somebody living in America is seeing somebody like somewhere like in a different country, and then I think it's like they have 90 days to kind of like get married in one of the countries. And like some of these couples, like you can tell like they're just in it for the visa, because you'll see like a super like ripped Middle Eastern guy, and he's with like some old fat woman from Wisconsin, and he's really trying to like play into it like, no, I love you, and it like makes no sense, but he's doing it for the visa.
You know what sucks is I'd be really good at that. I'm a really good like texter. I guess I'm gonna brag a little bit now. I'm really good at like if it's a girl that I really like I can text a really good game. I could easily text money out of some girls, but now I'm at the age now where I don't have patience for people that I don't like. So like if I think somebody's annoying, bro, I'm not gonna fucking write back. Like I wouldn't have it in me to, you know how long you realistically have to message a girl to get her to send, especially the girl sending the guy money. Like that's not like a common, like you've got to put in a lot of work to get girls to send you money, and it's some fucking 400-pounder from Wisconsin. Like, I'm sorry, dude. I don't have the patience for that. If she's annoying, I don't. I wouldn't have the patience to do it.
I mean, I can't believe that like the show Catfish is still ongoing, that people still think after 20 years now.
It's the loneliness. They talk about the loneliness epidemic. It's literally a perfect example of, and my boss, my old man boss that let me go out of the blue on Monday, he's a victim of, he gets catfished by girls on the internet constantly. It's and his family doesn't talk to him, he doesn't have friends. It's literally like a psychological study, I think, of what like loneliness can do to you, dude. A million red flags. Okay, so one time my boss told me the story about, there was this, of course, all these girls were like 20, 21, and my boss was like 75. So according to him, keep in mind, everything I'm telling you now is from his mouth to me. There's a woman who lives in Siberia that he talks to. And the story about the woman in Siberia is that when the war in Russia and Ukraine started, her son was 18, and Putin was going around door to door forcing young men to join the army, which I don't know how shit works in Russia. That is the one thing I could see about the story that I'd be like, okay, like I can't say one way or another. I guess I could see it happening. I don't know. But so at this point, my boss was already in conversation with this woman. So when this happened, this woman asked my boss for money so that she can send her son to America to live with a relative so he doesn't get drafted into war. So my boss sends over however many $1,000 or however much money it is to get a plane ticket for her son to fly over here. So that happens. Now, fast forward like a year or something. The woman apparently throughout their conversation, he learns is a nurse. She's a nurse who works at a hospital in Russia. So right away, I'm like, how can she not afford a fucking plane ticket to put her son on a plane to America? So anyways, you fast forward this year or two or whatever, and she finally decides she wants to come to America because her son is going to graduate from high school soon, which, by the way, I thought her son was 18. I mean, I was 18 when I graduated high school, so whatever. But if it's been a year or two, timeline's already not adding up. He's not seeing this, or he's so lonely that he's not seeing this. Also, keep in mind, my boss used to be a cop in his younger days, so that's where this gets even funnier. So there was this whole story about how finally, when this woman decided she wanted to come to America, my boss, my old boss, sends her a bunch of money, and What she tells him is that she got on an airplane to come to America. When she got to America, the airport security brought out the dogs and they found a whole shitload of drugs in her bag. So then what happened was, you know, security from the airport, which is probably like feds and shit, they apparently come to her and they say, okay, go back to Russia. You can't fly back to America for 1 year. She goes back to Russia. So the story that she told my boss was that her roommates that she was living with found out she was going to America and they were jealous. So they planted drugs in her bag. So that, so again, my boss, my old boss, who was a cop, I'm like, do you really believe that the punishment for getting, first of all, you're not in Russia. You're not getting drugs on a plane in Russia. Second of all, let's say that happens and you get to America and they catch you with drugs in your bag. You think the penalty for that is, oh, try again in 1 year? Like, that's so many red flags. And the reason he told me the story was because he was coming to me to ask me how to use Cash App, because he wanted to Cash App this girl $5,000 for something else. So it's like loneliness will completely, you will blow past a million red flags if you're lonely enough. It's ridiculous. Fucking A, I'm like borderline there. Like, I'll start blowing past red flags. I get into little conversations here and there with girls. Girls don't ask me for money, and I wouldn't send girls money, but remember that Scarlet girl I was telling you about that I met on the Instagram page that I'm like totally in love with over the internet? I sent her something the other day. It was just something stupid. And she replied with a voice message, and it was like a 30-second voice message. And I'm like, dude, I'm like 10 times more in love with this girl now. If she messaged me asking me for money, I wouldn't send it to her, but I would think about it for 2 minutes, which is to me like enough to be like enough to justify that I should be getting some kind of like psych evaluation, because I'm
Okay, so here's a question. So I don't know, like maybe it could be like hypothetically with this girl, or just say like there's a girl that you meet and you're like, she's amazing, like you want her. Would you put yourself in a situation where you would potentially start doing drugs again with someone that you have fallen in love with?
No.
Or
That's
the sobriety too important to you?
It's not even just my sobriety. That's completely how I destroyed god damn it.
Relationships.
The 5-year-long ex-girlfriend that I tell you about, who is probably still the love of my life and will remain the love of my life until something comes along and replaces her. It's been years. I'm starting to doubt that will ever happen. That's completely how I ruined that. It's basically like the universe dropped a treasure in my lap and I gave the treasure drugs, and then just completely blew that shit up. So I can't ever, in like good conscience, I can't even do drugs with another girl. Like, if a girl, you know, I can never do drugs with a girl. Like, even in my presence, I just wouldn't do it, because I ruined this fucking girl's life. Like, this girl came along and was like perfect. And this is looking back now, right? It's been years since we've been broken up. This is no longer just like boohoo, sad, I miss my ex-girlfriend. This is like, now I'm looking at like the boxes that you check that you want in a life partner. Like, this girl literally checked every single box. And I'm not a person who believes that your life partner is going to check every box. I believe that your life partner is probably going to check most boxes, but there will be one or two that go unchecked. But that's the point of a marriage. You sacrifice, you work together. This girl checked all the boxes, like every single box I could ever want. And I fucking turned her on to heroin. So like, no, I can't do drugs with like any girl. I don't even give a fuck about my sobriety. I'm not going to fuck up some other girl's like situation for my own gain, basically.
That's good. Good answer.
At least you're smart enough to understand that. Like, people will fuck up and then just keep fucking up like other people's lives. Like, I think we've all, you know, done something like that we totally regretted. But like, yeah, good answer. That's I admire that for sure.
Yeah, no, it's like enough to fuck up your own life. But then the worst part about fucking up someone else's life is that you know, I feel bad about it. This is like big talks with my old counselor and shit. I feel bad about it. Like, I feel guilty about it. But then I feel bad about feeling bad about it, because I'm like, what right do I have to feel guilty and like boo-hoo for myself? Like, I fucked up, you know, she's fine now. I mean, I guess I don't fucking know, but any little context clues that I've gotten from like, you know, sometimes one of my buddies, I fucking hate when he does this. He'll be like, oh yeah, I saw your ex-girlfriend in like the grocery store. Like, I don't care. Like, don't tell me. Like, why are you telling me this?
Yeah, brings up old feelings for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, don't tell me this. But from everything I've gathered, she's doing perfectly swell. I know she has a kid now, which is kind of like the death nail in the not that I ever thought we would ever get back together, but I mean, you know how I am. Like once a girl has a kid, or at least in that situation, I'll never say never, but generally, I don't think I'm looking to take on someone else's kid.
Nah, me either, dude. And this is gonna make me sound so shitty, but like, I'll match with like a girl I know is out of my league, and I'll be like, all right, like before I even look at her profile, I'll be like, all right, either A, she has a kid, or B, she has like some baggage, and they always have a kid, and they're smoke show. It just shows you that. And whoever's listening to this, don't think I'm a dick, but like it just shows they're unwanted, like in that sense. I hate to say it. Nobody wants to raise someone else's kid. And to the people that do, man, I give you so much credit, because that really is like a boss fucking thing to do. And you're
I
a
mean,
strong thing.
I have a friend that did that, and he is living his best life. He met a girl that already had a kid, but when they got together, I think the kid might have been like 3 or 4, and he just loves kids, so he didn't mind at all. And then she's like a total bombshell, just blonde, gorgeous, all the assets. And yeah, then he married her, and now he has a kid with her, and he just accepts, her daughter as, his own.
So
So
I have a best friend. I mean, I haven't talked to him in a couple of years, but he was in my first band. He was not one of the cats that was with us that night, out of the cats and our brother, but a best friend of mine, basically my mentor, the one Andy in the story that I told you about when the 2 girls were fighting over me at the skate park. The friend that I was texting that said, enjoy this. This is that friend. Taught me how to straighten my hair, got me my first girlfriend. He married a woman who has a kid, and again, he's also living like the greatest life I think he could have ever wanted. For me, it's just one, I don't have that much confidence. It's more of confidence in myself. I don't have enough confidence in myself to guarantee. I don't want to fuck up some other kid, right? I don't want to. I would feel terrible if some other kid woke up thinking like, oh, he doesn't like me because I'm not his kid. I'd feel like a dick. Like I just don't want to do that to some kid. If I was more confident in my ability to let things go, I've proven time and time again that I can't just like, I'm an asshole. Like I'll get upset about like anything. So, some other dude's kid is going to come count on me for breakfast every morning. I don't know. I'd like to think it's the same thing that Mark said. Any guy that could do it, dude, awesome. My mom, my stepdad, I love my stepdad to death. He's, I got everything I ever wanted for Christmas. He's like the coolest dude. I don't know that I could do it. And like I said, I'll never say never. Who knows? Some shit could pop up that I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I could do this. But, I don't really know.
I feel like it's okay to do it if you feel confident in the relationship, because like for example, I know somebody, and she was with a guy for like a couple of years that already had kids, and so she just inserted herself in the relationship and just like basically played mom to the kids, and then one day was like, you know what, fuck this, and left. And then it's like, well, that's scarring to the kids, because like here's this random woman that comes in and then kind of plays mom for like 5 years and then dips.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Mark, go ahead. It's your turn.
No, you're good, man. Go ahead.
Okay. My one last thing is that I know a lot of it, like I just said, you got to wake up in the morning and like some other dude's kid is going to come ask you to make him breakfast. Another part of it for me is that like I'm like a cheese ball. Like I'm like too cheesily romantic. So like I like to think that if I ever do, and I always wanted kids. I'm always bummed out that I'm like now 31 and I have no kids. I'm not married. But I always think like, let's say I have a girlfriend or a wife who's having my kid. I want to be in the room, like, trying to hype her up and like, being like a cool dude about it. I would have a really hard time thinking that like a girl that I'm now with went through, childbirth is like a big deal. Like, so like, I'd be like, oh, damn, you went through this entire fucking thing without me. And then like, here I come. And it might even be you went through this whole thing with this guy. Some other guy was in that hospital bed, like you know, like holding your hand and hyping you up. And now I'm just coming along like I'm so fucking no, fuck that. I want to be the guy that's there, like hyping her up. And you know, when a girl's like shitting her pants in the hospital bed trying to push out a baby, like I want to be cool enough to be like, oh yeah, I'll sit next to you and I'll act like it. I don't mind that you look like shit. Like I don't want her to go through that. And then I come along later. Like I feel like I would have to be there. Or else, yeah.
Be making breakfast for the kid though. My thing is this, like, I've never wanted kids ever, and I don't. And I think that's why, like, besides me being a fucking weirdo, but besides that, I guess that's why I'm still single, because every person I match with on like Bumble or Tinder, it's like wants children. I understand that, like, women want to have kids.
I
but,
fucking hate kids.
like I have my dog, like that's like my kid. I'll take them over people or kids any day of the week. But like my thing on someone else's kid too is like, you don't know if you're getting like a little Ted Bundy, dude. Like you don't you're getting someone else's fucking trait. Like, all right, like I don't know. Not saying that I have fucked up traits and maybe my kid would be like some serial killer, but like you have somebody else's kid and you don't know, like, you know, you wake up and it's like fucking Danny from The Shining, like with a knife at your bed. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing with that knife? Right, like,
but you could even say that about people that adopt children.
right,
that's different.
True.
For sure. I couldn't do that. Like
that part, yeah. But it's still, you know, if I was married to a woman and we had no kids and we adopted it, we'd go through this experience together. It's not that she's going through childbirth without me and then I come along later. Another thing you guys mentioned that you hate kids. It's funny because I've always wanted kids. I also hate kids, but I hate kids that aren't mine. So like my little siblings, I was always great. You know, I love them. If my cousin has a kid right now, if they come over, I like the kid. But we're talking like the stranger's kid in Walmart behind me. I'm gonna kick that motherfucker. Like get him the fuck out of here. I want nothing to do with him. If it's my kid, you better not look at my kid once if he's crying in the store. I don't want to hear about it. Or if it's my sibling, don't fucking say a word to him. But that's my thing. I hate kids, but if I'm related to the kids, then I'm fine with them. They work out.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just thinking of, you ever see like Bad Santa when like kids like, you've seen that movie Bad Santa?
Not for years.
Dude, the kid's like, he's like, what do you want, kid? He's like, Fraggle stick car. What? He's like, Fraggle. He's like, what the fuck is a Fraggle stick car? I don't know. I just thought you in Walmart with some random kid. And like, get the fuck away from me, kid. Like,
I would be a terrible mall Santa. Like,
smoking a cigarette with your beard fucking half off.
Like, there'd be cigarette butts like in the beard. Like,
smell like meat and cheese. You're not the real Santa.
That reminds me, when I was in Vegas a couple of months ago, there was like a Minnie and Mickey Mouse like walking around the strip, and I saw, so like Minnie, like this was at the Mirage, and Minnie went to one of the palm trees that's out front, and then they like took the head off, and it was this little Mexican man, and then he was just like smoking a cigarette holding the Minnie head, wearing like the dress and heels. I wish I got a photo.
There was a viral picture of that just went around. It was at Disneyland though, not in Vegas.
Really? Of what? Minnie Mouse smoking?
No, I think it was literally like a dude in a Minnie Mouse costume, and he was smoking like in a smoker section.
Like, what do you put in your fucking resume? Like what was your last job? Like, hey, was Minnie Mouse? Like, I was smoking Minnie Mouse at fucking kids park or Las Vegas. That's funny.
I would like to see their resume when they apply to be Minnie Mouse at Disneyland. It's like, what was your past job? Oh, I'm a smoker. You're hired. Like,
I love how we went from like ghost stories to this. This is fucking hilarious.
Well, I know with Disneyland you have to have a Disney look.
Only if you're like a princess. If you're in a full-on furry costume, they don't care.
But I know even for the people that conduct the rides too, you have to have.
Yeah, if your face is exposed, of course.
Yeah.
But honestly, nowadays in 2024, they could get sued for discrimination. I doubt it's even like a real thing,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna tell the black girl she doesn't look like Little Mermaid? I mean, she does now, so.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, you could. I don't know what. You don't have Disneyland over there, Do you have any? What's near you that's entertaining?
Me or Mark?
Yeah, you, Rob.
I'm like 6 hours away from. I've been at Disneyland.
I know, but like, what theme parks do you are there any theme parks in Northern California?
Not that I could think of. I'm not a fan of. I mean, I love Disneyland, but I don't like roller coasters.
Oh, me too.
Last time I went to Disneyland, I was with. I need to think of a name for the 5-year ex-girlfriend because I keep having to say like the girl I was with for 5 years. I'll think of something. Actually, I don't know. I'll think of it. So this girl, this is the last time I went to Disneyland. Was me and her went on Halloween. We were Jay Gatsby and Daisy. It was like the best Halloween costume I'd ever been a part of. I still have the pictures. We pulled it off very well. Well enough that people were walking up to us and they could tell that we were Jay Gatsby and Daisy, which is surprising because we could have just been mistaken for people in suits. But I found like the white jacket and everything with the gold. It was perfect. Anyways, she made me go on, in California Adventure, the big with the Mickey Mouse ears that go upside down in the 3 loops. She made me go on that, and I thought I was gonna fucking die. It was bad. Like I was a real asshole. I basically fought with her for like the half of the day after that because I was so mad that she made me go on that, and I should have just fucking sucked it up and been like, whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal. But I can't stand roller coasters. So when I go to theme parks, I just go for, all the goofy shit there. I'll eat cotton candy and look around it like what I can buy or something. Or
Yeah, I relate to that.
oh, we get the Mayfair in my hometown, but that comes every May and that's it. And that's like dude, they give like Mexican tweakers, like they're the ones running the rides. Like I'm talking like toothless motherfuckers that you would not trust with your life that are operating these big cranky fucking metal rides that you might fly off of at any moment. So everyone loves that. I don't go on all of them. I go on a little bit of them, but I usually just go there to hang out. That's where you go. Basically, if you're trying to get in a fight with someone that you haven't seen since high school that you still have beef with for no reason, that's where you go to the Mayfair every May. I haven't been in a few years, but I would like to go just to run into some old girls that I went to high school with, but all the girls from my high school have kids. Like all the girls I had crushes on in high school, they all have kids. They're all married.
Yeah, same deal, dude. Like I'm like spilling my guts to my buddy. I'm like, everybody's fucking married and has kids. He's like, yeah, dude, that's what people do that's what normal people do when they get out of high school. Like they don't fucking,
What
whatever.
I saw some meme recently. It was so funny. It was like when guys that are in their 30s and they're like, okay, bro, like what's the move tonight? And then it was like, what do you mean what's the move? Like you're 30, go start a family.
Yeah, you're telling me.
That was so funny.
You got that, but you got that, and then you got the other side of the spectrum is like these women that like are like so put together and good looking and they love these fucking losers and like they want that life, but they just string like these guys string them along, you know what I mean? Like
that's what I mean. But those girls are apparently only in LA. So I need to move to LA.
A lot of my girlfriends are like that.
Dude, show your friends pictures of me and tell me which one of them I can come live with for free.
It's like they love.
Oh, exactly. The girl.
Like they want like somebody that can fix, like, I don't know, in a female's perspective, is that true? Like
I'm not even a girl, and I can tell you that more than half the girlfriends I've had got with me because they saw me as this sad like puppy dog that they needed to take care of.
I used to be like that when I dated musicians. Definitely. You're like, oh, I can fix him. Like just shower them with endless gifts and food and take care of. Yeah. Yeah. And then you just get completely just destroyed in the end and traumatized, and it's not worth it anymore.
The thing is that in small towns like where I've lived, that is a thing in high school, but small town girls get pregnant really quick because it's a small town. And so all the girls that did that stuff for me in high school are now married to like guys with good jobs and have kids and shit. So that's why, like I said, I need to move to LA, and just, it sounds like all these girls in LA will do this shit. I seen a meme one time that was like, the meme that's the boy and the girl texting in their rooms.
Yeah.
I seen one where the girl is like, it says like, oh, what do you do? And the guy says, I don't have a job. And the girl says, get me pregnant. Like just straight up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
There's
I think
Sorry, good.
No, I was just gonna say it's the meme where the guy's like in prison, right? He's in a cell, and then the girl's on her bed.
No, and the one I'm talking about, the guy's not in prison. He's just, I think he's also just on his bed.
It's the cartoon one, right?
Yeah, have I been seeing this rolling the whole time?
Yeah, he's in a prison cell, like laying. Because the original one.
No, he's not.
Yeah. Because the original one is like a prison meme. It's like, so what do you do? And then he's like making a joke about the fact that he's in prison, but she doesn't know.
No, it's this one.
Yeah. There is
Yeah.
a prison one though.
Yeah,
What is that one? Let's see.
he's just on his bed.
A girl texting.
No, look up texting meme.
Okay. Let me look this up.
You can see it perfectly on my screen right now. I got it. He's just on his bed.
Yeah, no, he's okay. So the original one is like he's actually they changed the background. There's one where because he's wearing like the orange top, there's one where he has like cell bars in the background. And that's the one I'm talking. Yes, okay, I found it. It's that meme, but they put cell bars over it, and then she's like, so where do you live? And he's like, I live in a gated community.
There's another really good one. It's like her, what do you do for work? And he's like, I don't work. I'm working on my mixtape. I'm addicted to fentanyl and I live in my parents' basement. And it's her like squirting all over. Hilarious.
Okay, I will say though, there is a whole just like community of women on the internet that just want to be with a guy in prison and will just throw endless money at him.
Yeah, that's been a
So
thing.
that's also an option.
That's been a thing. That's been a thing since like Bundy girls going to Bundy's court dates and shit.
Yeah, like I follow this one girl. It's just so interesting. I followed her whole journey, and the guy is supposed to get out like later this year. But basically, like I don't know, he's in like a jail in North Dakota for I don't know what he did. But basically, while he's been in there, he's been working, like making jewelry, and then somehow like she's selling it for him and they're making a ton of money, where he was able to like buy her a house in Florida with like a pool and like multiple cars. And so when he gets out, like she's completely set up. But yeah, and then she'll occasionally post like other inmates that are at his prison that are looking for pen pals. So there's a lot of guys out there.
So we either got to get locked up, total scumbag. Like, I don't understand. Like, dude, even look, Charlie Manson, like that chick he got with, like when he was like at the end of his life, like fucking Charlie Manson can get a girlfriend, but I'm sitting here single because I don't like kids. Like, what the fuck?
I'll go to LA and become a scumbag, dude. I will.
I will say though that, I mean, I think like in LA, and it's probably like this in a lot of like major cities, but at least a lot of the women that I know here don't want kids. So it might be more of like a progressive thing.
Well, I'm in the deep South where everybody wants to have a family and have kids, or they have kids, because down here it's like you graduate, you have kids, you get the white picket fence with the golden retriever, and that's the life you live. And it never works out because you're too young to really, I don't know. I feel like you get married super young and never works out.
Well, I think here a lot of women still do want to get married, but they don't want to have kids. So
yeah, my shit.
So maybe put your Bumble on like LA and then just do a long distance.
Big Gavin Newsom fan.
Yeah.
Just make your profile picture Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like, what the fuck, dude? We meet in person. You look like Chris Farley, not Gavin Newsom. Like,
oh, Jesus.
So what? Okay, so have you ever been catfished?
Me?
Oh, Mark.
Well, not in person, but I have like over an app, and I found out because it's so weird. Like, what a small world. This girl was like good looking, whatever, cool. And then I explained to my buddy, like, like where she worked or where she said she worked and what she drove. And she didn't lie about where she worked. She actually wound up working with my buddy at this photography studio. And he's like, yo, dude, that's not that chick. This is her. And it was like this really, really not, I hate to sound like mean, but not attractive chick. And I called her out on it because she was telling like partial truth, but she just didn't like say like what she really looked like. And so that's my only experience with it. I've never had it in person or anything like that. But,
Yeah, it's I know it's pretty awful in LA with the online dating.
it's
That-
rough. Like, dude, I sound like a loser, but I'm on Bumble, I'm on Tinder, I'm on Hinge, and it's like I'll go on dates and like these people will just be trash. Like, I love when you go there and they're in their phone. You're talking to them and they're in their phone immediately. Like, I don't care how good looking you are. Like, I am not gonna pursue you. That's so rude. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, today's day and age.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've told Rob this story, but one time I had a friend that went out with a guy she met online, and then when she pulled up, the guy was a complete burn victim, and he used his twin brother's photos.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh
like
my-
like fully like just
Like
no
Freddy Krueger.
hair. Yeah, yeah. Like she said to him, she was like, "This is fucked up," and he just said he was afraid, and he thought he would never be able to meet anybody. So he was honest, but she was like, "This is fucked up. I'm gonna go."
Yeah, like I feel bad for the guy, but you don't blatantly lie. Like I feel bad for your situation, but like you're showing up with no ears, no nose, and no mouth. Like I don't know what the fuck. Like or-
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I'd probably start screaming.
there's a terrible joke that like Dave Chappelle's told years ago. I love, by the way, but like he had to get it scrubbed off the internet. He said, "I love burn victims because they always look like they just walked into their own surprise party." Pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I've never had that experience. I've just had experiences where like the guy is a lot bigger than his photos, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, it was taken like 5 years ago," which is like
Pretty-
yeah, or one time I think I might have mentioned this to Rob before. I went out with someone years ago, and then he was like, "Oh, you remind me of my sister," and I'm like, "Okay, great. So I don't need to be here anymore. This is a
That-
waste of my fucking time." So yeah, it's rough out there.
But
There was
you're aren't you like married or dating someone? Like don't
I
you have-
am married. I know we've never spoken about that.
Yeah, you know, she's like
I know,
"Yeah,
I know between
rough
like,
out
Rob
there."
and I, we've actually never spoken about the fact that I am married.
I think it's
just
never.
it's never come up in conversation. But yes, actually, my husband knows all about you, Rob, and he's like, "Oh, we should take a road trip up to visit your friend Rob. He's always here. Like he knows all about you. He's just like ecstatic that I have an online friend."
He's like, yeah, your first friend.
No, yeah. No, he knows all about you. No, he's cool. Yeah, no, I am married. First time talking about this. Yeah, we actually so I've actually known him since high school. And what happened is he had been asking me out since high school, and I said no, like the whole time. That's the story. Is he asked me out in high school, and I was like no. And actually, funny enough, at the time in high school, I had this best friend at the time, and she was going out with him for years. And so I was like, no, I would never go out with you because you like, we're on and off with this girl that I was friends with. And then I happened to be with someone for a long period of time as well in my early 20s. And then during that time, even though he was with his ex, he was just like, "Listen, like you're the girl of my dreams. Like I will dump her for you." And I was like, "No, like I'm with somebody." And then after COVID, we both happened to like break up with our old significant others. And then I I hadn't spoken to his ex for many years, so I had no loyalties to her anymore. And then he asked me out like on Instagram. And then I was like, yeah, like fuck it, why not? Whatever. Like, you know, it was like COVID times, like everything was crazy. So we went out and then yeah, we just like we had a great time. And then like 3 months later, he was like, listen, I have been waiting for you for 10 years. You are the only girl I've ever wanted. Will you marry me? And then we got married within 6 months. And now we've been together for like 3 years. It's literally like a movie.
No, you got to tell him that's awesome, because I always complain about this. I'm surprised I never complained about it here. Persistence is like totally dead, because
no, he was very persistent about it, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
fine.
that's badass. Yeah, today persistence is totally dead, because you know, if you say one thing, if you don't look perfectly attractive to a girl and you say one thing she doesn't like, you know, she's gonna accuse you of some outlandish shit. I always think about like whatever happened to, remember when we were all like in high school and like there'd be like a group of friends and like one guy openly had a crush on one girl and he would like openly be flirtatious with her in front of the group, and she would like, you know, playfully reject him, and
Yeah.
life would continue on and it was fine. But today it's like, if I ask out a girl that I'm friends with and she doesn't want to, it's completely over. It's no more talking. It's awkward. Now it's like, dude, you could have just said no. And it actually happened to me. I hit up a girl that I like was friends with since like middle school. We weren't like best of friends, but we were always fine. We used to, you know, we talk here and there, and you know, like you'd post something, you'd reply to it, or we were friends throughout high school. And I'd always wanted to like ask her to hang out, and I just finally did it like kind of like a couple of years ago. And yeah, she just left it on red, and now we just never talk anymore. And I'm like, dude, you could have just said like no, and I would have been like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like we can still be friends. Like I'm, you know. But now, yeah, there's no such thing as, you know, once somebody has a crush on someone and the other one doesn't reciprocate, I can't talk.
Reciprocate, yeah.
Yeah, once that happens, like it's over. It's awkward. Everyone's uncomfortable. It's like, dude, watch a fucking 80s movie. Like watch an 80s high school movie. That's what kids need to do today.
No, it was like that, because he would like ask me out and then I would say no, and then he would wait a couple of years and then try again. And then, yeah, like the third or fourth time, I wasn't seeing anybody. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? You've tried for so long.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then we went out and we just had the best time. And I was just like, oh my God, like I'm an idiot for, you know. But I feel like because prior to dating him, or prior to being with him, I used to only go for musicians. I just would go for these like dirt bags that would fuck me over. My ex-boyfriend that I was with for like 5 years was a musician. It's just, and then after all that, I was like, I'm going to go for somebody completely different that I would never go for. And so that's why when he came forward, I was like, you know what, let me try something new. And I went for a tradesman. That was just like, you know, he's just this big powerlifting guy. I used to not go for that. I always wanted the tall, skinny, lanky guys.
You got to stay away from the lanky guys.
Yeah, no, it was just like always trouble, and it fucked me up. And so then I was like, oh, like the tradesmen, that's where they're at. And so, yeah, he was like, no, you're the one, we're getting married. And so then we went to Vegas. We did the whole Elvis Vegas thing. And then that was it. And so, yeah, he's an electrician, and he's just, yeah, he loves working and powerlifting and punk rock music. That's like his life, and tattoos. So yeah, there are guys out there like that. It was hard to find, because all my other girlfriends, they just want like junkies and musicians.
Start giving them my number.
And I keep telling them, I'm like, no, like you need to just like try something new. And they're like, no, this is what I like.
No,
and
you got to give them my phone number. I'll find my old fentanyl dealer's numbers. I'll move to LA. Like we'll make this work.
Yeah, no, like all my girlfriends are like that, like where they just get like fucked over by just these like terrible guys. And then I was the first one in the group that was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. I'm seeing a pattern with all of us. And they were like, what? No, like we can't. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to try something new. And I did. And then I'm like, you guys should come to this other side. It's nice. And they're like, no, we still want these guys. And they're still getting fucked over and living traumatic lives. And I'm like, oh no.
I just don't get it. Like I'd say like you matured from that situation. 'Cause like,
oh yeah.
Sounds like, you know, you bettered your life by meeting, you know, your person, and that's fucking awesome. And you're giving them like this sound advice, and they're like, "Nah, we want the guy on fentanyl. We want the Fendi."
But that's what girls are like in LA. Like,
They have
I
they,
mean,
they
like,
have to learn the hard way. They have to learn themselves.
Yeah,
yeah, but
what-
like
it-
my at least the girls that because I like hanging out with like just rough girls. Like I don't like the kind of like Taylor Swifty girls. Like I need like a punk rock chick with like piercings and tattoos, and we get along great. But they like fucked up guys and a lot of drama, and so they're always like, like one of my close girlfriends that I know would just love you to bits, Rob. Like she loves a tall, lanky guy, and she's always in these situations where she's like with a guy, and then there's always cheating going on, and like he might have like several baby mamas, but she's like, no, it's okay, I love him. Like, you know,
yeah.
it's like that's the kind of shit. Or like I'll have, you know, other girlfriends that are with guys that are like just creepy old like pedophiles, and she's like, no, it doesn't matter, like they're the one. And I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? But they love the drama over here.
The drama is a way of life. It is something I can't even
It's-
lie. I do miss dearly. I was always in my younger days, always with girls, with multiple girls, getting in fights with guys over girls, with, you know, it is a way of life to always have something like that going on.
yeah, no, it's like, I mean, now it's just come to the point where I don't really want to hear the drama, because it's like, Jesus Christ, like you put yourself in these situations, and they're like in their 30s now, and they're still, you know, just doing drugs and cheating and stuff like that. No, but then they'll have the audacity to be like, but I want to get married and have kids. And it's like, well, you're not going to do that with that guy who's living on your couch, you know.
I hate to say you just said what I was thinking. They want that lifestyle, but they're never gonna get it. Like if they're gonna be like the 50-year-old women at the bar, like searching for like a guy, you know, like if you like put that on rotation, that's what your life's always gonna be. And like I just don't understand it. And maybe I'm a little butthurt because it's so hard to find people, and they're like, you know, they love these douchebags. I don't understand.
I actually am gonna again put a vote in for myself. I would actually be perfect now, because I will live on their couch for free, and I will just write all day.
Mm-hmm.
But I will be too tired to cheat. I'll still cause drama. It just won't be the kind of drama. And I'm totally down to get married. So like I'll do like half the exact amount they actually need, right? But then I'll actually stick around and marry them. But I mean, if they want me to cheat, I can, of course, I can work that into my schedule. You know, I'm just sitting around writing all day. I got nothing else going on. So
No, I don't think they want they don't want him to cheat, but like they're the kind of girls where like he'll cheat anyways, and then she'll be petty and like cheat back, and then he'll get jealous, and then there's always like physical abuse going on too. And like it's like it my friends are like crazy, and I'm just like, listen, like you guys got to calm down. But I love hearing their drama because it's so entertaining, you know. Yeah, it's like I have a friend, like, yeah, she was with a guy, and it was just like so much cheating and violence, and then he punched her, and then she got a restraining order, but then she was like, wait, but I love him. And then like, you know.
The classic move of the girl getting a restraining order and then breaking it herself.
Yeah, no, it's like that. It's like, wait, no, but he didn't mean it, you know. What the fuck? It's crazy. But yeah,
Yes,
they're all here. They're all here in LA.
These girls don't exist in like small rural towns.
No.
I could speak for that. It's, dude, down here, like I said, they got like 3 or 4 kids from like their first marriage. They're on methamphetamine. They're they're just like alcoholics, or like they're all fucked up down here. It's it was so much easier in New Jersey, I guess, because there was like a bigger population, but like down here is fucking brutal. It really is. And they I can't play it because I'm on my phone here, but like I met this chick who like I thought was like a good prospect, and like we talked on the phone one time. She had like a super southern like accent, and she's like, I hate to say it like this, but you just sound like a northern douchebag. Like, what the fuck? You never met me. You know nothing about me. And like they'll judge you right off of your accent down here. Like if you don't sound like you just fell off the fucking rutabaga truck, like you
You know
know.
what that reminds me, when I was in high school, I remember this one time where I was hanging out with one of my girlfriends, and I was like casually seeing this other guy at school, and he had called me on the phone while I'm with my friend, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm hanging out with my friend Kevin, or whatever his name was. You guys should come over." So my friend was like, "Oh, like who's Kevin?" And this is all, we're over the phone. This was like before like FaceTime and stuff like that. And so he puts his friend Kevin on the phone, and so we just hear a voice, and it's like this like low sultry voice, and she's like, "Oh, like Kevin sounds kind of hot." So I'm like, "Yeah, we should go, like let's go hang out." So we go over there, and then Kevin comes out, and he's just like this super obese kid, like really short.
His
And
sex,
she was like, "Do we have to stay now?" And I'm like, "Well, we need to stay for an hour."
you sound so hot when you're struggling to breathe. Fuck.
Yeah. No, it was like that. I remember that. It was like a huge disappointment. But then like when he had the same voice though. So you saw this like obese kid that's like 16 or 17, and then he spoke, and it's like, whoa, like that's fucked up. Like you shouldn't have like this kind of novel voice that could be on like an audiobook.
Yeah. when when that chick said that, I'm like, what the fuck? Like that's like the equivalent of me calling you a dumb redneck, and I wouldn't do that because I would never say that.
Yeah. No, you'll have to like expand your horizon on those apps and just go farther out.
I have to just fucking delete them because it's such bullshit. And it's like back, like nobody can hold a conversation. It's like, hey, what's
Yeah.
up? Thing. What are you doing? Working. What do you do for work? I'm a nurse. Cool. What do you do like when you're not working? I go out for drinks. Cool. All right, bye. Like,
Yeah. No, it's rough out there. But I guess so like just more interesting information. So my husband, a couple things about him, Nick. So he's an electrician, but he does high-end electrical for all the celebrities here in LA. So his main customers are the Kardashians and Ellen DeGeneres. So I hear firsthand like what goes on in those families, and it's like
My grandmother is a huge Ellen DeGeneres fan. I have to throw that out
really
there.
okay. So
Yeah.
so Nick hand built all of her homes in Santa Barbara, and it's funny because with the Kardashians, they have that TV show. Whenever like we've had the show on, he'll point to be like, "Oh, I built that closet," and he'll point to all the lights and stuff like that. But it is true that Ellen is like one of the meanest women on the planet. It's all
Dude,
over the internet, and it is true.
Have you ever heard that there's an episode of Howard Stern where he talks about Ellen's like pattern of adopting dogs and giving them back? And it's hilarious. You got to look it up. Just look up, like, I think it's just, if you just look up Howard Stern on Ellen DeGeneres. Apparently, she went through this phase with her and her, I don't know, girlfriend or wife at the time, where
Oh
she
yeah,
got
I think her name's Portia or something like that.
she got in trouble for it. Like every other week, she would go down to a shelter and adopt a dog, and then she would end up like giving it to someone else. She would like take it back. She would take it back and give it to someone else. And in the contract, you're not allowed to give the dog to someone else. You have to bring it back to the shelter. That's what finally got her in trouble. But it exposed this pattern of Ellen just like adopting all these dogs and it just like not working out because they don't get along with her cats. Just a weird, like, I hate to say weird, like lesbians with pets stuff, but just like only stuff, like there's the joke about like lesbians always move in together too soon. And I feel like there's definitely, there's a joke to be made somewhere in there where like lesbians adopt dogs. It never works out. They're on like their 74th dog just because it's just not working out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. It's back when Howard Stern was funny, of course. So it's good. And he really, dude, it's like the funniest like Howard Stern segment ever.
I miss like golden era Howard Stern when he was actually he was great.
Dude,
Like
he's such a bummer now. He's just become everything he used to talk shit about. Like the whole reason you liked him.
it's like, dude, I'd have more respect for him if he just like hung it up and like retired. Like now he like interviews like fucking like musicians and like, you know, it's just not it's not the shock radio like it used to be, like the Whack Packers and shit. Like that was the best. Actually, funny story. My friend's uncle is a dwarf, like in real life, and he worked with like Beetlejuice on there, and his name is Big Papa. Like you can look him up. Like he's been on there multiple times. Like they did like the midget wrestling, and when he like got Beetlejuice like adult diapers for Christmas, and he like freaked out. Like he was like actually like met them and stuff, and
That's
apparently Howard Stern's super nice, but he treats his employees like shit.
Oh, yeah, that's like a known thing that he doesn't pay them shit
Yeah.
for, you know. That's a
Right.
lot of the reason why like Jackie left and why Artie left. Like he wasn't paying him shit. There's a podcast I listen to. You should check it out if you used to be a big fan of Howard Stern. It's called Quite Frankly, a Howard Stern podcast. A lot of what they do now is they listen to current day Howard Stern and they just kind of give commentary and roast him. But there's episodes where they do his old stuff. They have a 10 video playlist. It's called the NPD or narcissistic personality. It's called the NPD, something to do with NPD. If you look up Quite Frankly Howard Stern NPD, the whole 10 video playlist will come up. They go through all his old videos. And they have a guy on who's one of the guests, and he's friends with the podcast, and he went to school for like psychology, and they kind of do like psychological breakdowns. Because back when Howard was divorcing his first wife, and she was calling into the radio show, and they were basically divorcing slowly in real time on air. They basically talk about like, oh yeah, everyone thinks this is like Howard playing a character, and yes, he is being funny, but he's exploiting his like miserable marriage with his first wife for like ratings, and he's treating his employees like shit. There's an episode where he gets in a fight with Jackie, Jackie the joke man. And Jackie like called someone else at a radio station for like a hotel reservation, and it's hilarious. I can't lie, I love Howard Stern, but he really fucking lays into him on, and it's like once you start, like when you're an adult, you watch the stuff back and like, oh, they're actually fighting on air right now, and Howard is legitimately like disciplining his employee on the air. And it's like kind of like humiliation ritual type shit. Like, and yeah, he barely paid his employee, especially for how much money. Jackie wrote all of his jokes. Literally sat under his desk and wrote his jokes, handing them up to him on papers on air, and like couldn't get a higher wage. And Artie came along, and Howard gave him shit for his heroin. There's an episode where Artie comes on, and Artie was like probably like a week sober, sucking on Subutex and Suboxone all day long, just trying to survive. And he gets on, they're doing an episode, and Howard starts talking shit to Artie, and he's like, oh, go suck on one of those things that keeps you off heroin again. Like, you're in a shit mood. Like, go do some fucking heroin. Like, it's just crazy. But yeah. I'm a dick, so I think it's hilarious. But you have to also be honest, like, oh yeah, this guy's kind of a dick. But that's, I always joke to Annie, I wish I could like, I'm as of right now, I'm not that much of a dick. Maybe if I get some subscribers, it'll go to my head, and I'll start bringing people on and just being a complete like douchebag to them. But as of right now, while I only have 100 subs, I can't do it. And you guys are safe, obviously. So that'd be fine. But maybe in the future I'll bring someone on, and I'll be nice to them over DM, and then as soon as they get on, I'll start calling them names. I don't know.
A really good one is I don't know if you remember Siobhan or something, as like a transsexual girl that went on there, and he bashes her so bad and so cruel. Like you feel bad. She's like basically saying like, can you get me a job? He's like, I don't give jobs to talentless fucking people. He's like, what do you think? I just have a fucking list of jobs for people that don't do anything. It just like goes on. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's there's nothing like old Howard Stern. You just look at the YouTube playlist of old Howard Stern videos. Like I could listen all day, and it's just a bummer now. What I hate the most about him now is the way that he like very publicly denounces his old stuff. Is like a way, he's obviously doing it to try to avoid like the cancel train or whatever you want to call it. And it's just so obvious that he's just like groveling, and it's ridiculous. you don't have to keep doing your old stuff, but don't come out and publicly denounce it. Like, don't, oh, I'm so embarrassed of my old stuff. Oh, you mean back when you were actually getting ratings and you were actually relevant? Like, what are you talking about? And he does all this, all of his like, obviously he just goes along with whatever's trendy. Dude, remember when the Rodney King thing happened and Howard Stern got on there and talked about how Rodney King deserved it and the cops should have beat him even more because he was speeding? And then the George Floyd shit happens and he talks about, fuck cops. We got to get rid of all the cops. Like, oh, you have no actual opinions, Howard. You're just saying whatever's popular.
Right.
You don't actually stand for shit, which, if you're a comedian, it just goes back to like, if you're a comedian, I don't know, just be a comedian. Like I'm fine with all of his shit, like I thought, whatever, I'm a dick. I thought it was funny when he played when Selena died and he played the Selena song with the gunshots over it. Like, fine, I'll whatever, I can take it. And then when he apologized, he did it in Spanish, like, but if you want to like distance yourself from your old material, just don't say anything about it. Don't try to like shame the people that still like it and talk about how it's shitty and
Right.
publicly denounce it. And he doesn't, and he could just, I think he would have, I think the two best routes he could have done were either one, like you said, just retire, just hang it up, or two, just stay the same and like weather the storm. Like, yeah, if he would have stayed the same, he would have inevitably gotten canceled. Like, yes, that would have happened. But he would have held on to his core fan base because now he literally has nobody. Like his core fan base all hates him now. There's all kinds of podcasts, like the Quite Frankly podcast I just told you about. They used to be hardcore fans, and now they do a podcast basically fucking roasting him every week. And he's also not, it's not like the left likes him because how could they? Like, he's got fucking Hillary Clinton coming on his show thinking it's going to make him popular again. No, now nobody. And plus he's on Sirius XM. He fucked himself when he talked about how podcasts are for losers. Like, now he literally is just left in the dark. It's just a bummer. It's literally like one of those, like, how the mighty fall. And he's just fallen very far. We literally, I feel like we basically lured Mark on to tell his ghost story and then never told any other ghost story.
I know. Well, do you have any?
My only ones really are the Ouija board stories that I've told you.
Okay. I mean, I just live a life of mediumship, so it's just my everyday world is dealing with that kind of stuff. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I have dreams all the time with the dead. I don't know. Like, how do you feel about mediumship, Mark?
I mean, I definitely think people can connect to people that have passed on. Family friend of more of my parents' friend growing up. His name's Artie Hoffman. He he works with the police and stuff to do that shit. Like, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
So I definitely, that shit's real for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I'm religious, I'm Catholic, and like everyone's like, oh, you can't like believe in that. Like, no, like I'm an exception. Like, I believe in God, but I also believe there's other ways of connecting to dead people. You know what I mean? People definitely have like a sixth sense.
Yeah.
You brought up dreams. Like, do you think like dreams are significant in the fact of like in that aspect? Like, I feel like I have weird ass dreams about people that have died, people that are here, like situations that would never happen in real life, and I'm always like wondering if that's like, I don't know, like
yeah, I mean, I definitely believe that when the dead come to you, to your dreams, they're coming to relay a message. I keep notes anytime somebody visits me in my dream. I actually have like tabs of different people so I can see over time like different patterns and how often they're coming in and what time it's happening and like all the details. I've been doing that for like a couple of years now. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not religious by any means. I'm super into like consciousness and like exploring like astral projection and like things of that kind of nature. That are like just out there. And like through doing that, I've been able to discover like quite a bit. That's just wild. Actually, like a couple months ago, funny enough, Rob and I did like an online Zoom class on astral projection at like 6 a.m. I think it was like on the East Coast. It was like 9 for her. We were like at 6 a.m. like learning
awesome.
about like ghosts and stuff.
Cool.
One thing I'm going to go back, Mark, when you said that, you know, you're a Catholic and you said other people that you know that are Catholic think it's weird that you know, think about other stuff. I think it's weird that those people think, so there's a guy I listen to, it's called The Confessionals. It's this podcast. He basically talks about astral projection a lot. I've sent you a link to something that he posted one time, Annie, but he also talks a lot about like cryptids. You know, he's really into like aliens and Bigfoot and like all, you know, any kind of like supernatural shit you can imagine. And he was saying that, or one of the guests on his podcast was saying that it's very weird how today Christians and Catholics will. One of the things he talks about a lot is Nephilim. You know, the giants from the Bible. You guys know what Nephilim are, right? Like, you know, giants basically. It's
Okay.
Back in the day when fallen angels came down to earth and they bred with human women. The offspring were Nephilim. They were giants, and you know, when you mention this stuff to Christians, they'll be like, "Oh, that's weird," or like, "Oh, you believe in ghosts?" Like, "Oh, that's weird." First of all, Jesus was an exorcist. You know, that's what he did. He cast demons out of people. So you have to believe in demons. You know, I don't see how you could believe in one without the other. But yeah, it's funny how you'll get these, you know, hardcore Christians and Catholics to think all that stuff's weird. But it's like, dude, you say you believe the Bible. The Bible is full of black magic and turning, you know, staffs into snakes and raising the dead. But then you mention a ghost to a Christian, like, oh, that's fucking weird. It's like, bro, like you're reading the Bible. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean that's weird? That's like what the Bible's about. Like I always say, Jesus was like a fucking rock star exorcist. Like that's what he did. Like
There's a lot of like people that they think they know more than they know. Like when I came down to the South, like it's all Southern Baptist, and like it's overwhelming. It's almost like televangelist type, like, you know, stuff. And I just got judged so hard by like people down here. Like when I moved here, they're like, "What church you go to? Like, what do you believe?" And I'm like, I would never ask anybody that, like, off the bat. And like, you know, we curse a lot up north, and coming down here, you know, you hear every other word is like fuck, and that's just how we speak up north. That's how we speak up north. Coming down here, you curse, and like they think it makes you a bad person. And it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of hypocrisy that goes into any religion, but like I know what I believe. I don't know. I just feel like people think they know more than, you know. They think they know more than they really do know. Like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I don't even like, I don't know. Like you see my stories. Like I'll post like, I don't know, like some fucking like typo negative shit, and then I'll post like the cover of a Pantera album, and like, you know, I got people that are like, oh, that's bad. That's like, dude, shut up. Like, you know, God's not gonna hate me because I like Peter Steele or like because I like friggin' Phil Insomno. Like, you know what I mean? I'm an exception to the rule, I think, because I'll go to like, you know, a Megadeth concert and like people, which ironically Dave Mustaine is like religious, and it's just funny. I don't know. People judge bullshit. Like I just feel like,
But like, wasn't Peter Steele religious too?
Well-
He was Catholic, right?
yeah, it was, and I'm pretty sure he like renounced that at the end because
No,
like,
no. At the end, like, didn't he like he sobered up and then became super religious and then he died?
I thought it was the other way around. I could be wrong.
No, I think the story is that like he was trying to get off drugs and then he got into his old faith again, and then he had like sepsis or something and died, and like he was like just found. I think.
I thought it was the other way around, but maybe I'm like just what I looked at was wrong.
Yeah, I don't know the full story, but I do know that towards the end of his life, he got back into church.
That's cool.
So those guys, yeah.
But
question
for you, Annie, like, so you believe in all that, you believe in ghosts, you believe in like all that shit, but like Rob said, like it's interesting that people believe one without the other. Like if you think of like evil, like just curious on why you don't think like the good aspect. Like if there's hell, there's got to be heaven, or you know.
What do you mean? Like what are my beliefs?
I mean, Rob, I was picking up what you were putting down. Like, how could you believe one but with the other? Like, wasn't that what you were describing? Like, how do people believe in, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you believe in God, you have to believe in the devil. If you believe in the devil, you have to believe in God. So if you believe in demons, there has to be like a counter, whether it's God or something else. There has to be a good, like, I think there are demons and then I think there are spirits. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily know which one I just, when I talk about there's a ghost in my house, I don't think it's a bad ghost. I don't know it much about it, but it's never thrown a fucking book at me. So like, I'm sure it's more along the lines of a spirit than a demon, you know?
Yeah, I would agree on that. But I just believe in like human consciousness.
Right.
So I don't believe in like good or evil. It's different. Like I guess like because I started practicing astral projection, it really opened up my mind to like what actually happened. I mean, I guess like I can't really say that because I'm not dead, but because so my background has always been through like science and anthropology, and so I've always wanted to find meaning of like, well, what seems most realistic. Like the concept of God to me, like I can think of like the universe as a whole as God, like that would make sense, but it doesn't make sense to me that there's like a man in the sky. Like I have relatives that are Seventh-day Adventists and they believe there's a man in the sky that's going to come to claim them. That's like I don't see that. And so I just go off of like, well, what like evidence is there and what have I experienced? So I've spent like the past probably like 6-7 years studying like basically the anthropology of death and the afterlife. And so one thing I've noticed, if you've ever heard of, I don't know what we would call her, like a psychologist or something of the sort, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she back in the day,
grief.
yeah. So Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was this woman back in the day where she really studied death and grief and near-death experiences. And so there's like thousands and thousands of examples of people having near-death experiences, and they're all the same. It's this feeling of hovering over your body for an extended amount of time and like seeing what's going on below. So that in itself shows that like, okay, there is some kind of like consciousness or soul within you that like transcends, because all these people are having the same experience. And so through astral projection, you kind of have that same experience. So that kind of shows like, okay, that there's something else out there than just here in the physical. But I can't confirm like what happens after that, because I think like death comes in stages. And even through my mediumship, I can feel it too. Like when someone immediately dies, there is a period of time, whether it's hours, days, or a couple of weeks, where they are in that stage of like hovering over while they're in the room with you. And you can contact them quite easily. But I don't know what happens after that when they decide to go on. So, I guess you could call that stage like heaven, essentially, where they go into the universe. But, I don't know.
Well, that's so like, I don't preach to anybody. Like I've dated girls who like believed in like that, like Nordic, like shit. Like I don't preach to anybody, but like for me, it's like, I don't know, for me, like the kind of proof that I see is like the Bible. And I know we were saying last time, or you were saying like how they explain like so-and-so was 400 years old or so-and-so was 900 years old. Like the like beginning of like the Bible, like is kind of confusing, but like, I don't know, like the fact that there's like proof that people saw things and recorded it, for me is like kind of the,
but then it's like, okay, so when it comes to the Bible, I mean, like, okay, so isn't a lot of it like metaphorically speaking? I mean, I know a lot of people actually take it word for word, but then I also think about like, okay, so it came out like thousands of years ago. I mean, if you think about like just like playing the game telephone, like just being in the same room as 10 people and trying to get the same words out, like, how do we know what
I never liked the telephone example, because generally when you're playing telephone, you're playing with like your fucking retarded friends that are like trying to have a laugh in the first place. So I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, things are gonna change, but I think when it comes to the topic of something that people consider like a life-saving grace, they're gonna work kind of hard to, as far as like whether it's metaphorical or literal. I think that's just kind of, some people think it is. Some people think it is, and some people think it isn't. Yeah, I don't
Right.
really know.
Like like for instance, like listen, I'm not like a pro at like any excerpts from the Bible, but like when you read a lot of the stories, there's like 17, 18 people that all saw the same thing. It's kind of hard to like fight that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for instance, like again, I'm not trying to get too deep on it, but they talk about like in the Bible, like all Jesus and the disciples are in this like horrible storm and he calms everything. And they're like, dude, this guy swept his hand and everything went from like a complete hurricane to calm. I don't know. That's pretty believable. Of 17.
But then I also, okay, so like I hear what you say, but then I think about like just the general brain power back then. Like, I mean, people.
It was probably
Like if I was just really stupid and I lived on a farm and some guy like in the middle of the rain was just like, it's all good, relax, and I'm just like, I have this like medieval mind, I may be like, oh my god, like he's smarter than us, yes,
I would argue it's the opposite. I think people back then were way smarter than we are. I mean, look at like ancient Egyptians that, look at all the, I don't know. I think we've only got stupider.
I do agree on, ancient Egypt. There's definitely, things out there that we won't know, but
everybody's take on it's different, and like that's why like I'm an exception. Like I have people that like I work with that are like they'll hear like you don't agree with them and they're like blaspheme, like oh my god, like closing the fucking laptop, like freaking. Like that's the great thing about like life is that like so many people could have their own opinion, and I love that. And I hate people that like will judge just based off that. But like not to get too deep in it, I mean just everybody's different with what they take from it.
Yeah, I've always been down with whatever. Like I said, I think I've talked about that one girl that I follow, and she follows me on the disco page. She's like super fucking devout Christian, and she's cool as shit. She's I've always gotten lucky with Christians though. Like a lot of my best friends in like real life, I like grew up with, like I've known since kindergarten, and they're all like, they're all very Christian and like believe in God, and they've all been really cool. Most people talk about Christians, they're like, oh yeah, those people are judgmental, and sometimes they're over exaggerating. Like we've all met like a gay person that's like, somebody told me they'd pray for me, and that's the most, like, bro, they just said they'd pray for you. Like, I hate that. Like, this is one I always hate, when people are like, oh, a Christian said they'd pray for me. That's because they're judgmental. No, it's because they like you. That means they want you in heaven with them. That's like a great compliment. When a Christian tells me I'll pray for you, it's just like an atheist saying like, oh, thoughts and prayers, or like, sending positive vibes. It's just the Christian version. But Christians, it's even a little bit more extreme, because that means they think you're not going to go to heaven, but they would like you to come to heaven with them. So when a Christian's like, I'll pray for you, I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, I appreciate it. Although I will say there was a funny one. When I was probably like in kindergarten or first grade, I had Britney Spears' first CD, Baby One More Time, on CD. And some of my parents' church friends came over, and they came, my parents were showing around the house, and they came into my room. My parents were like, oh yeah, this is, our fucking douchebag son's room. And they saw my Britney Spears CD, and the dad was like, you like Britney Spears? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'll pray for you. I was like, oh no, what did I do?
You didn't tell us your son is gay.
Oh, it was the best. It was the best I'll pray for you I've ever gotten. But
that's right there. Like that's kind of, I'm at a crossroad where like they're like, if you're gay, you're going to hell. Like, dude, I've met some like the nicest gay people that are like cool as hell. Like, I don't care what you do. Like, I really don't. Don't push it on other people. But I've met some of like the most coolest, like generous, nice gay people. It's like, I don't know, man. I have a hard time believing like that they're that great of people and they're just gonna go burn in hell for like their sexuality. Like that's hard for me to believe. I don't know. Like I understand it's supposed to be a man and a woman, but it's like I've met some genuinely cool gay people that are just like nice people. like oh fuck him, he's gonna go burn in hell because whatever. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, the coolest part about that is that you're not God, so you don't have to worry about sending anyone to hell.
Right.
Yeah, I've had some of the coolest. I knew some of the coolest gay people. I've always been the guy in the group that when gay people are around, the gay guys flock toward me and they hit on me. I'm the one that they come to in the group. But I'm like, I don't care. I'll say no. I'm not into it. But I'm flattered. Like I appreciate it, and it always happens. Like it's always, and I can't blame them. Like I used to, on any given night, I could be wearing makeup or have my nails painted. So like, of course, they're gonna come fucking talk to me. But
They want
yeah, no, it's all good. Like I like you. I just not like that. But you're cool. Like let's get drunk. Like gay people are tight.
So it's 8:00.
Yeah, we keep getting later and later every night.
This was actually really fun. We should definitely do this again next week. Mark, if you're available.
Yeah, for sure. So I was telling him my schedule for work is so weird. I work 8 days on and 6 days off. So like days off, I'm down for whatever. And
are you free? Are you free Saturday night?
Yes, I am.
Where did you see the poll?
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
We're doing Texas Chainsaw.
Hell yeah. But Annie, you're a Silence of the Lambs fan. That's awesome.
I am. Yeah. When you guys want to talk about that one,
We should all do that whenever. That would be great. I love that.
Yeah, so it'd be the Saturday, Texas. Next Saturday, if you're free, that Saturday we do Rob Zombie's Halloween, and then Saturday after that would be Silence of the Lambs.
And then Saturday after that will be Blue Lagoon.
No, then we got to do Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which I'm very excited to do. I'm like so tempted to do it by myself because I've got probably like the most to say because that's the one that everybody hates, and it's my favorite Halloween movie, so I have to defend it.
Maybe you should do that one solo so you can really get in everything on there.
I think what I'm going to do is I'll do it with you, but I know at some point I'm going to end up wanting to do I'm going to do my own, just like entire Rob Zombie filmography. I'm going to like record it and try to edit it. I've been saying I'm going to do that for a while. Now that I've got some time off of working, I really need to, I'm considering doing La La Land with Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, the music.
I've never seen that.
It's a beautiful movie. It's a musical. Just as kind of like a curveball because nobody would expect that from me. It was either that or Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, but that's I need something that might pull a little bit of views. So I really might do a video on La La Land.
Do you want to do a prompt for next week to keep to have a topic to discuss?
I think we should just start doing bringing topics to the table. Like I said.
Okay. That's
fine.
fine.
So throughout the week, whenever anything happens to you that you have thoughts about, fucking write it down in your notes. Write down 3, 4, 5 topics. And then when we get on here before we're live, we'll all say, hey, I got these topics. I got these topics. I got these topics. We can
the only topic I could think about, I thought about it while we were talking tonight, actually, is to talk about something where you felt ashamed or embarrassed. Because when we were talking about COVID relationships and drugs and alcohol, I just thought about how during COVID, I think I don't really remember. I blacked out for the first time in my life. I think I was drugged and it was super embarrassing. And I was going to talk about that story. And I'm sure you have some too. So.
I have a million.
And then I don't know if he'll be free. Maybe he will. I told you I have this friend named Cake, and he was the roadie for Nirvana.
Oh,
and yeah, he's still best friends with Courtney, but he's super into witchcraft and mediumship and aliens. And so I texted him right now and I said that we do this thing on Wednesdays if he wants to come on and talk about that. So I'll see, because he texted me the other night and he just was rambling on about aliens, and I'm like, okay.
But if he's going to come on, you have to make sure he'd be fine. I want to talk about Courtney if he's going to come on.
Yeah, no, he's pretty open about talking about it because, yeah, I met him actually in my local bar. He came in and he was just talking to me. He was like, "Oh, are you a witch?" And I was like, "Yeah, how do you know that?" He's like, "Because I am too, and I just notice people who are." And then we were talking, and then he was like, "Yeah, I was the roadie in Nirvana." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then he showed me a picture of him in the 90s, sitting in Kurt's house, on the couch with them, and I was like, "Oh my god."
If it helps, if it makes him feel better about it, make sure you tell him that I'm like a big fan of Courtney Love. I don't fucking hate, like, I think she's great. I think, I'm not going to try to curveball
Yeah,
him
no,
and be like, yeah.
he's like super cool. He's just like a, old hippie guy. I think I don't even know how old he is. He's probably like in his 40s or something like that. But also, I mean, that's like if he responds and says, "Yeah, sure." But I did send him that text. But otherwise, yeah, we can just talk about more random shit next week and like embarrassing drug stories. That's
Be
always entertaining.
he'd be a good person to bring on if he's willing to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't see why he wouldn't, but I'll see. Unless he happens to like, I don't know what he does for work now. He was working at Goodwill for a while, so unless he has like a shift at the Will, I don't know. And I'll see.
From Brody to Goodwill.
Yeah, I don't know what he does right now.
It makes perfect sense,
but-
honestly.
Yeah, no, he's like his real name is Carlos, but he introduced himself as Cake, and he's quite the character. So yeah, so I did message him, and I'll see if he's free. And then if not, then we'll just talk about random embarrassing stories.
So, and like make notes of shit that go through your week. Like, I could definitely do that because there's so many things. Like, I'm a scatterbrain, as you can tell by the way I talk. But I could totally write things down that I experienced during the week that I'm just like, what the fuck, and to bring up that if you're cool with that for sure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that would be great. And then yeah, if you have any more like weird experiences on dating apps too, that's always so funny to talk about.
I have a lot of fucked up stories, and I'll have to watch who I share this to. Like, on my story. I don't want too many people hearing it, but I do have some pretty fucked up stories. Like, I went through the ringer with like, I've been sober for quite a while, but drugs are a motherfucker, as you guys know, and puts you in situations where you can feel like you're in a movie for sure. And I have a lot of stories with that.
Okay, good. Yeah, just
Yeah, and sorry, my ghost story was so fucking all over the place.
it was fucking hilarious. I actually love that. That was great.
I'm like sweating. It's like 75 in here. I'm like, oh, telling my story. I'm like, and then the whipping sound, and my parents ghost was there, and then there was condoms in the attic. Like, I feel like I totally fucked that up. But
I love that. That sounds like a book.
yeah,
Condoms in the attic.
yeah. I tell people, and they're like, no way. I'm like, why would I make this up? Like,
It is one of those ones that, yeah, I wouldn't believe you were like, who comes up with condoms in the gun and the.
that's my problem. I never lie. I'm like too honest. Like, that's another thing that kind of segues into like the dating app things. Like, girls will ask my opinion, and I'll be like, I think that's fucking stupid. they're like, I'm not gonna fucking go date this guy. Like, too honest. But anyway.
All right. So okay. So I'll see you guys next week. This was fun.
Yeah, it's been
And then
real.
have fun Saturday.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
See you. Have a good night.